Good day, everyone. So, my name is Mr. Jonathan David de la Cruz. We are still at the curriculum development discussions, and we will now proceed on the curriculum processes. Now, in the curriculum processes, there are different steps. We'll now proceed to the first step, the curriculum planning. So, for the curriculum planning, it's actually a process of determining and developing your goals. In our previous discussion, we actually discussed about how to generate aims, goals, and objectives. But now, what are to be considered in generating these goals? So, first is you need to know the determinants, okay? The determinants of curriculum. One is learners, of course, learners, because they are the largest stakeholders of education and they are also the consumers of the education. So, it's important that we should have a theme, common theme for our students on what type of students we want after they finish the program, after they graduate. So you need to know that. Next is the society, and a society to progress economically must progress educationally. If you observe different countries that have best and quality education, their economy also happens to have a good performance. So there's somehow a direct proportionality, a direct relationship between economics and economy and the education system. And just like what I always say in Filipino, ang kaganapan sa loob ng paaralan ay refleksyon ng mga kaganapan sa ang mga kaganapan sa loob ng paaralan ay refleksyon ng mga kaganapan sa lipunan. So whatever happens inside the classroom is actually a reflection of what is happening in the society. And we also discussed previously in our content development that the contents are actually based on what we've gained from the society and to school. And then definitely after these students graduate from the school, they're going to use these knowledge that they gained from the academia, derived from the society, back to the society. And then next is knowledge. So one of the major determinants is knowledge because set up an environment which will challenge all students to master knowledge. There are different forms of knowledge. So, where do these learners tend to be good at? Where do we want them to specialize in? Of course, in the 21st century education, we are not compartmentalizing one sole expertise or one sole knowledge. We are actually promoting an integration, a transdisciplinary aspect wherein different forms of knowledge is being offered to the learners. But it is also important to consider that these types of knowledge that is present in the academic institution or is still being generated right now to be considered in developing in planning your curriculum. Okay, so number one should be the learners, and then the society, and the knowledge. So what type of knowledge do you want your students or learners to gain after they finish the program? So next is needs assessment. So needs assessment is uh, assessment is completed to identify the strengths and weaknesses of the existing curriculum situation and to provide directions for their improvement. In curriculum planning, it's important to consider the changes in the society. Averagely, 6 years, 5, 6, 7 years, the needs of the society, the state of the society changes. Hence, the curriculum should also change, responding to the needs of the society. Just like what we always say in curriculum development, there is no such thing as perfect curriculum. Only appropriate ones. And a good curriculum is responsive to the needs of the society. The needs of the society definitely changes. If we go back to 2015, there's a different need at that time. There's a different state of society at that time, especially in 2020 because of the pandemic. The education system was forced to change rapidly because the society changed also rapidly. Okay. And in order for a strong education to survive, we always have to go back to the needs of the society. Now, the needs assessment also falls on the learners. What does your learners need in order to survive this fast changing economy? These has to be considered. Next is formulating goals. And goals are statements of endpoints or outcomes of education statement of purpose. By analyzing the school goals, we can determine the scope of its entire educational program. So we talked about this in our discussion on generating aims, goals, and objectives. There are a lot of things to be considered in generating your aims, in generating your goals, and in generating your objectives. And it has to change. Your goals and aims are somehow established endpoints for your curriculum, but the objectives has to be changed or developed every time you use it because somehow it changes time after time. Okay. So there are different sources of goals. What are your goal for your learners? So learners, the purpose, the interest, developmental needs and characteristics of the learner should guide the choice of appropriate goals. Since we are also talking about generating your goals, since you're still planning your curriculum, uh, the number one source of goals should be your learners. Know what they need, know what are their interests, and then integrate it in the curriculum. Also, this can also help you on addressing their experiences. Remember that we want a quality education, and if we want a quality education, we want to give a meaningful learning. If we want to give a meaningful learning, we want to relate it on the experiences of the learners. So in generating your goals, possible sources of goals, know what your learners are experiencing and know what you want them to experience, because that will definitely lead on a quality and meaningful learning. Next is the society. It's a very society. The values and behaviors defined as desirable by a given society help shape the goals of the education in the society. Take note, schools are established in different society, in different environments. So definitely this will affect because a school or an academic institution highly influences the community. If you notice, as I have said, there is somehow a direct proportionality on the economy and the education system. If the economy, if the education system is good, so does the economy. Now, you must respond to the need of the society. So if if the society needs this type of profession, your school has to prepare one. Take note that there are a lot of professions in the 21st century that was not offered before. A lot of courses, a lot of programs that was not offered before. This was because it was forced. Okay, not in a way that it's not something to be wanted to, but in a way that these courses is the demand of the society. Example, there is no course of photography before, there is no IT before, but these professions rose because it was needed during this time. Now, there could be a possibility that there could be changes in the curriculum on business as well in this pandemic because online business is a trend. This might be something to be discussed in the curriculum on the business sector. Okay? What I'm trying to say is that the society will speak what it needs. It's the job of the education system to plan and respond to what the society needs. Next is fund of knowledge. Human knowledge that has been accumulated and organized for universal use should be taken into account in shaping the goals. One of the things as humans that we should consider, no, is that we continually seek knowledge and we organize this knowledge. And this knowledge that we've organized, we use it in our institution. We use it in our school. We're talking about the available knowledge that we have, the available information that we have. We integrate these existing forms of knowledge and definitely apply it in the educational system. Somehow the courses that is offered right now that are offered right now has similarity to that of your parents, but there are differences, a lot of differences, like approaches. When we talk about sciences in the basic education in the old curriculum, there's a compartmentalization between biology, earth science, physics, and chemistry. But in the current education system, it boils down on integrating all of these, making an interrelatedness of each fields of science, known as the integrated science in the basic education curriculum. So, um, in the conduct of your development of of your curriculum plan, it's important to know your sources of goals. You do not just create aims, goals, and objectives just because you want to, or just because you feel like this is what they need. You need to know what your learners need. You need to know what the society demands, and you need to know what existing knowledge is present for you to utilize. So kailangan alamin mo kung anong pangangailangan ng estudyante, ano ang hinihiling ng lipunan, at ano, okay, ang existing knowledge na pwede mo magamit. There are a lot of problems in developing goals because in the principle of it's this falls on the first button principle. If you start it in a wrong way, definitely it will end up in a not right way. Say for example, you created a program, you created a course. After these students graduate, turns out the society do not need it. The society do not demand it. Saan magtatrabaho itong mga estudyanteng gumraduate, di ba? So that has to be considered. What your learners need, what the society demands, and the existing knowledge that you have. So those are the major things that you have to consider in developing your goals in curriculum planning. Okay, so that would be all. Now we will proceed in our next video. We will proceed on curriculum designing. Thank you very much for listening.